Kellie J. Wright. I am the voice and author at Internal Narcissies and Internal Journeys, a spiritual transformation. I am a self-love mastery coach, and I have a radio podcast that I produce once a week. It's called Conscious Speaks, and it's a place where we get together and commune to bring like minds and people who are interested in healing, self-love, care, who have a project that they love, or are just really involved in community and giving back. And so it's a fun show. And it is heart-led, as we were just talking about. Everything from the heart is where I've landed in this point in my life. And it's really been a blossoming point. I started in, over 20 years of real estate construction and development, and I've worked out on site, and when the economy failed, I went back to school and I got a paralegal degree, and then eventually really just found out that I was stuck. And so I created a way to walk my mind out of that stuckness. And now I teach and guide others. So that's a little bit about me. It's a self-love mastery course, which is it's spiritual psychology, technically, and psychology of the self. And, I was always heart-led. So I had that. It was an easy transition. I knew that I would be doing this someday. I didn't know how or when. And, but it was interesting. And it's beautiful how our journeys, they're never a miss. Everything that I believe we learn in our journey is meant to help propel us into the next moment where we're supposed to be. We get to the next placement in our step of internal and spiritual growing from the place that we're at. So we take those good knowledges and those good skills with us, and then they prepare us for the platform where we are next, and where I am now, and how I'm building my business and my brand and a couple of the other projects that I'm taking on. I know that I wouldn't be able to do with the prowess and ease that I do without all the skills I learned away from my other journeys. I will say, yes, everyone needs it. There's not many things I think people need in life, but we all really could benefit from truly loving ourselves without judgment, fear, ego, or pride, because it's been proven to me again and again that once we do that for ourselves, we no longer can attach or project that onto others. And so the world would become really this place of non-judgment, where everyone could be who they are, learn their life, live their life, and shine bright in the hues of their own intentions, which truly, I believe, is what makes us all beautiful. And the judgment and the fear and the ego and the pride that blocks us from loving ourselves because we're afraid of being judged and feared, and all those other negative qualities or aspects that were taken on when we were younger by accident, really are put in place to protect us, but they do more harm than good. So once we can demask those protection mechanisms, per se, we do not project fear and love outward, we project love. And it starts from looking in. I was just talking to someone recently, and it's all about looking in. Once we're not afraid to look at ourselves, to see ourselves for exactly who we're being, which can be the trick, then we really have the keys to the kingdom to free ourselves emotionally. It's really cool. It's for everybody. And it's one of the things that obviously we're not naturally going to know how to do, because when we're born, we naturally look out. We look to our mothers, we look to our fathers, we look to our caretakers to provide that first mirror for us. And they're doing so with the best intention and all the skills that they have. And if they haven't taken that look in, then we pick up and adapt their fears and ways of communication naturally through osmosis, because we all love each other so much. And then we take on some of those frequencies, and they become part of the way that we create our reality. When we get big enough to start really making our own choices and looking around at the world to, kind of hone who we want to be, then it starts to entangle with what we've taken on or in as a child. And so we feel like we don't have any of those things. When we say, I'm never going to be like my mom, or I'm never going to be like my dad. And the truth is, it's, we do. We come like our mothers and fathers, and that's good because they're beautiful and they made us. And so what we want to do is detangle the fear that we took on, or that we decided was real, when maybe they were just a little bit too busy to answer a question with love, or maybe they were just busy, stuck being human, because as children, we forget that our parents are adults too, and that they have lives and we're not the center of their world, or they try to make us so, and in doing so, they forget about themselves. So as you can see, there's a lot of confusion that goes on for everybody in a family structure growing up, but the basis is love, no matter how it's given. And so when we look backwards in time, we look at how we created our relationship with love. We all have a relationship with love. The funny thing is we all think we're seeking it, but we're already being it, and we're attracting that which we are. So if everything is great, then you probably still need to look, because it's really fun to clear some of those things and decide, hey, I can own this in a higher vibration. I can be more 100% present with love, because I've looked back and actually let go of some of these things I've been carrying that were perceived perceptions of a happening that may have been completely out of context. With adult eyes, when you look back, you really have a 360 spectrum to see things in a way you wouldn't have at 5 or 6 or 12. Every day when we awake, we're practicing something. Because we're not aware that we're doing it, we don't think we're practicing it. But every day we get up, everything we do, we're practicing and reinforcing as a part of our journey. So whether it's how we make our coffee, or how we say good morning, or our routine with our animals and children, or how we get ready and the things we're saying to ourselves when we're getting ready, everything that's a practice for the day to reinforce our behavior for the next. So what happens is we don't realize that until we realize that we are who we're being, we don't have a chance to deconstruct that and really build it from a love-based arena. We call it moving from mind-based thinking to heart-based being. So once we free our mind from all the past fear, pain, expectations that weren't met, things that unrealized love is what I call it. I believe that we operate on 2 systems in this world. It's really easy. The hierarchy of it is love and fear. And you can change those to anything negative and positive with the name, and they'll still represent the masculine and feminine, negative, positive, the 2 forces that create the world. And so if we are operating from fear, then I think it's unrealized love. And it's so easy that we can go back in and change the work. It's hard. It definitely is hard, but it's easy once we start. And everyone, including myself, when I did the work, latches onto it, because we realize we can change our world. We can change our inner world, and that changes our outer world. We need fear to a certain point in our life, when or danger, or those reactions when we're young, to protect us. That's hot, don't pick that up, or we're training. But there's a point when we can disengage that training, because we have enough skills we've collected along the way. We really had a chance to bridge out into the world and decide, this is how I want to create it, and how I want to be, and who I am. So how do I be that person fully, from a love-based point of reference, so that I can allow everyone else to do that too. My dream is for one heart at a time, for us to free this frequency of love, because then anyone and everyone can be who they are without fear. It's really a simple idea, but it's hard, because pride and ego are laced into the very actions of everything that we do, until we move the currency of that value to a love-based pride and ego. There's a positive and healthy side of ego and pride in every 7 deadly sins. They're called the 7 attributes, right? And so we really, when we learn that there's 2 powers that run the world, love and fear, those are our thoughts. We are running to something or running away. And how we do that has to do with how we are meeting ourselves inside with love. If we're looking for something and we're not providing it for ourselves, we have some work to do. Because once we do this work, we can love without attachment. And that creates really powerful human relationships through every dynamic of every family, through any relationship, all the way down to the relationship you have with your money, your bills, your, how you eat, how you care for your body. It's really fun, and it's a great way to practice being. And once you do it, you kind of get hooked, because you realize you're already doing the opposite of it. Why not do the positive, better, I will say better, I'm gonna use the word better. The better part of being here is to be free from fear and to live from love. Anyone that's looking will find me. I think that we're spirit led. I believe that there are no coincidences in life. I have clients that are in their early 30s into their almost 70s. It's never too late to change the way you feel about yourself or free those past pains or blocks. We work with a lot of people that work with grief issues with a parent passing or a child before their time. We work with people who are making coping mechanisms and choices that aren't healthy, which was part of mine. And I had a lot of abandonment issues perceived from growing up in divorce. And not that any of these things aren't worthy or real, but we can learn to love them through so that they don't hurt us. We learn to let them in instead of having that point of contention outside of us. If we're not always fighting that one thing that maybe only comes up once a year because we run on a cycle, right? So when that jolt hits our energy system and that shocking thing happens, it'll start to come up every year, that bump where we start to feel a little something. So when we start to watch ourselves, we can set ourselves up for success. I have a client where we know that he has seasonal, I don't want to call it depression, but he gets affected seasonally by the weather. So we're making plans for, fun things to happen, or just to remind yourself, hey, that's coming. It's not a real feeling. I can reject that. These are ways to work within ourselves to really help ourselves along. We can help ourselves along. And it's so fun once we learn we don't need anyone else to do that for us. And they cannot. No one can help us along internally as well as we can. And that's why it's important we take the keys to that car, our vehicle that we're in every day, and drive it tuned up. You got to give it a tune up, set the intentions, meet them, realize that, if we have loved ones that are gone, that they're never far, technically they're a part of our whole matter, our DNA, right? Yes, it is it's who I came to be, as I call it. I knew I would always be doing work like this. I didn't know how or when it was coming. I always knew the second part of my life would be the best part, and everything before that was research, I called it. And I hand-walked myself through this process unknowingly, spirit-led. I downloaded a book that walked my mind through itself and created the tools that I now teach others how to do this. So it is imperative that if we haven't done the work, that we do have a coach or guide, because you need someone to be there for you. I always say, I don't let go of your hand until your goals are realized. And when I work with a client, I only work with 12 at a time. It's because we're creating a relationship. And I have a gift to remember everything that we talk about and connect the dots in ways through my work that are special. So I don't want to cloud that's about my maximum, to be able to keep everybody there where I can see them and make sure that I'm doing my best work. And every client, myself included, I always say I didn't have a coach, but I did. It was God. So it was, but I'd always been walking myself to this. I know it's what I came to do, but you can't do it by yourself without a coach, because when we do mirror work, we can't see ourselves yet. So having someone turn that mirror for you is really allowing someone to trust someone enough for them to show you who you're being. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. And, when I work with my clients, I'll always, say, so I'm seeing something, can I show it to you? And they'll let me know. And if they're ready, then I'll show them gently, because I'm their first moving mirror. I have no judgment. I just want to you're letting me help you. So let me show you what you're doing without attaching a negative or positive, consequence or gift to it. Let's just look at it, and then you can decide, is that suiting me? Is that helping me project the best version of myself? Because a lot of times you'll find out it's not. I know I did. There's a lot of things I couldn't believe. I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe that's who I was, but I'm not anymore. Because once you see yourself, you free yourself. It's real work. It's powerful work. The clients that I work with are ready for their next level of going deeper to meet themselves and to be one with their creator, however they see them. I work with every denomination. We're non-denominational because we're love. Love comes in every language and in every religion, every sect, everywhere. And so I work with clients that are atheists. I've worked with, every religion, Buddhist, Catholic, spiritual, people who don't know, because love is the universal code that we all run on. And so what language has done in this year, in this 21st century, has really kind of separated the truth is that we're all one, and that we don't have to fear ourselves. And so once we don't fear ourselves, we can really uplift the planet and uplift each other's. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to think about, helping every inner child free their pain and realize they didn't do anything wrong. Everyone was doing the best they could. And sometimes really bad things happen, but we can let go and then choose to be a brighter light for the future to help our children create, better lives and a better planet. The children that are here, the indigo children and just the newer generation, are so smart. And if we let them be who they came to be, they could really take this place to where it should be a lot quicker than we can. So passing the baton means becoming an elder, not having to be forever 21, being in your body and really being a way shower for the newer generation who really have every skill that they need to run this world in a place that everyone could feel safe and loved, because they really are the most non-judgmental generation that I've seen or studied. And it'd be really cool if we don't mess that up.